So, this process has a SI Sn omega like 2E IdB. That means the spectrum will be theoretically like this. If I now take a bandwidth B here anywhere, the amount of power is equal to 2E IDC B, and we are saying wherever you take this B, it is constant. That is why we are saying this part is independent of frequency. Similarly, here also this part is independent of frequency. So, such processes which have a spectrum which is independent of frequency and the constant value has a name for it in addition to all the descriptors I gave you earlier for the noise. Such noises are called white noises. So, the model for both the thermal noise as well as the short noise is that these are white noise processes. And it does not matter what is your carrier frequency, what is important is the bandwidth. Wherever be the F, this is F can be here, F can be here, F can be here, the amount of noise is only dependent upon the bandwidth of the system. Same thing holds good here also. Okay. How do I minimize this noise power? Look at each one of the terms. E cannot, nothing can be done about E, E is fixed by God. So, no change in E. I can't do much about it because system requires some bandwidth. Of course, smaller the bandwidth, the smaller will be the noise, but smaller the bandwidth, the communication amount of information you can transmit is also small. So, you require some minimum bandwidth for a given amount of bit rate and so on and so forth. So, B is fixed by external considerations and it is fixed. The only thing you can do is to decrease this IDC. So, the moral of the story is to decrease short noise, you will have to decrease the bias currents. So, you should not bias the transistors at high current values, even tens of milliamperes. If you want a low noise system, you must bias it at a value somewhere around microamperes. And it is nice to say that, but there is a problem here. If you, from our transistor knowledge, we know that everything is decided by beta, right? Beta of the transistor. How much is the emitter current with respect to base current or collector current with respect to base current. And this, unfortunately, this curve goes like this, beta versus emitter. For low values of this is low, for high values it is low, there is a range here where this is constant. So, moment you start bringing this down, the beta will also come down. The beta comes down, the amplifier will not be having a requisite amount of gain, right. So, people make special transistors which will extend this to lower and lower values, and they are known as low noise transistors. So, you will have to buy a low noise transistor which can be biased at low values of currents, maybe in terms of microampere currents, and then it will give you less amount of short noise. Okay, is this clear? Now, these are the two major processes of generation of noise in a electronic circuits. But in addition to these two noise sources, there are plethora of noise sources which are present in the electronic circuits. One other problem noise is that is called a 1 by F noise. Sometimes also called flicker noise. It has been found that if you see the noise spectrum of the noise generated by transistor or any active device including vacuum tubes, in addition to your short noise which we mentioned already, there is some funny thing happens. Initially, the noise will be quite high, noise spectrum will be very high, and then only it becomes a constant. This constant is what we discussed as the short noise, but then if a phenomenon takes place at up to some value of frequency, the noise goes on, noise density will go on increasing. This is what is known as the 1 by f noise. You can see why it called 1 by f noise, because f goes up, the noise will come down in this region, that is what is called a 1 by f noise. People try to argue it because of some flickering of the cathode and so on and so forth. So, that way they started calling it a flicker noise. But unfortunately, to my understanding, even today this phenomena of flicker noise is still not well understood. Why this flicker noise really comes in electronic devices. Previously, this frequency used to be as high as 1 to 10 kilohertz. It's pretty high. Then with the better processing of these devices, they try to bring this down, and today it may be some few hertz here. By improving the device manufacturing processes, they brought this frequency down to a lower value. But remember, it is still there, and it is very high below this frequency because of this 1 by f relationship. And quite often all the instrumentation people use bandwidth which all fall in this region, because the variation of the signal from instrument is mostly slow signals. So, the bandwidth of the signal is very low. So, the signal also falls in this region where the noise is quite high. So, this is something you have to live with, but you must choose a device which has a lower value of this frequency. Then there is another noise which is called a popcorn noise. Popcorn noise, where if you have a resistor made of carbon granules, are you hearing me? Okay, good. If they are resistor with carbon granules, they are packed together, but still remember they are not crystalline, they are kind of amorphous. So, there are two granules of carbon sitting side by side, very close to each other, very small value, but if the electric field between them goes high, there will be a very minute spark between them. The moment that a spark, there is a radiation at all frequencies, very wide band, and that creates noise. And since they are like sparks are like popcorn, so they call it as a popcorn noise. So, whenever you make devices which constitute granular material, you will end up in having a large amount of popcorn noise. That is why all low noise systems you should never use carbon resistors. You must use always a metal film resistor which does not have the granularity. If you use a carbon resistors, you will end up into a lot of popcorn noise.